Good evening, Purple family. Welcome to another episode of Shades of Purple, a Prince podcast. On tonight's episode, we'll be discussing and reviewing Prince's sixth studio album, the massive masterpiece, Purple Rain. So you guys, I have been waiting to review this album for some time. So finally tonight is the night and I'm so looking forward to it. Purple Rain is probably my second favorite Prince album out of his whole discography. And for a lot of people who are not Prince fans, Purple Rain is pretty much all they know. And not even Purple Rain, the album. They know Purple Rain, the song, which is the song that the album is named after. A lot of people don't even know it's an album, but they do know the song Purple Rain, and this is what they know Prince for. Anytime you see references of Prince outside of the Purple family, you're going to see him dressed in the purple trench coat, the black pants, and the white ruffled shirt. Like they act like he didn't do anything else after Purple Rain. So I think sometimes in the Prince community, Purple Rain doesn't really get the love that it deserves in some circles because it was his most commercial and biggest hit. But Purple Rain is a masterpiece album. There is not a single song on this album that is weak to me. And I just think it's kind of unfair that, it gets so overlooked because it is so commercial and it is so appealing to the masses. But at this point in his career, that is what Prince wanted to do. After 1999, he saw the buzz that it got and that it eventually went platinum. So he knew that he really had to up the stakes because he also wanted to do a movie. So he knew that he had to really come with it with this next album. And that's exactly what he did. So let's get right into it. We're going to look, of course, at the princevault.com to discuss the sessions and how it was compiled. So the album was mostly recorded between August 1983 and March of 1984, although Baby I'm a Star had first been recorded in 1981. The last three songs on the album, I Will Die For You, Baby I'm a Star, and Purple Rain were recorded live at the August 3rd, 1983 First Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA show, although overdubs and edits took place on all three in September 1983. This marked the first time Prince had included live recordings on an album or any release. So I Will Die For You, I'm a Star, Baby I'm a Star, and Purple Rain were all recorded live on August 3rd, 1983 at First Avenue. So that's really important to know because not a lot of artists, either then or now, really take live recordings and put them on albums. So that was really something that is not really done. I mean, you hear about it, every now and then, especially, it's especially not done now. But back then, especially, that wasn't to my knowledge. Like, I could be wrong. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think doing live recordings was not something that a lot of artists did. So I can applaud Prince for him wanting to put these tracks on here live as they were. Now, of course, they did some mixing and overdubbing, but for the most part, they were as you hear them on the album, which is wonderful. So in keeping with previous albums, all tracks were primarily written by Prince. A lot of people think that, like, for instance, Purple Rain was written by Lisa and Wendy because that's what he says in the movie. But actually, no, it was written by Prince. So Computer Blue features songwriting input, though, by Dr. Fink, Lisa Coleman, and Wendy Melvion. So they did help with Computer Blue. Dr. Fink also wrote a keyboard bass line for the track. Prince's father, John L. Nelson, was also credited for the father's song component of the track, which is kind of the breakdown in Computer Blue, like the da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. So John L. Nelson reportedly wrote that. He had been working on that, and it's also a part of Father's Song, which of course is a instrumental, which he had been working on during rehearsals on the 1983 leg of the 1999 tour. While Prince's previous albums were primarily solo recordings by Prince, Purple Rain contained the credits produced, arranged, composed, and performed by Prince and The Revolution. So Purple Rain was really the first album where Prince had more of a collaborative effort with The Revolution. Now, in 1999, There were some things that the Revolution did on that album, but that was mostly all Prince. But famously, the Revolution, the name Revolution is actually written backwards on the 1999 album. Like, you have to really look closely at the album cover to see Prince, and the Revolution. So, but with Purple Rain, he put the Revolution more out there. So that's why when you hear anything associated with Purple Rain, the album, it'll be Prince and the Revolution, because he really made sure this time that he had more of a collaborative effort with the band. So the full band appears on actually 4 tracks. So that's why they got more of a billing this time around. Let's Go Crazy, I Would Die For You, Baby I'm a Star, and Purple Rain. Wendy Melvoin and Lisa Coleman also appear on Computer Blue. They have that spoken part. Wendy, how does it go? Okay. Is the water warm enough? So they have that spoken part on Computer Blue, but I'll talk about that later. While the remainder of the tracks are essentially solo performances. Apollonia sings co-lead on Take Me With You. I'm sorry, I did not like her vocals on that song, but like I said, I'm gonna get to that. 3 of the tracks include a string section arranged by Lisa Coleman and Prince, conducted by Coleman and Melvoin. Take Me With You, Baby I'm a Star, and Purple Rain. The string players are Novak, violin and viola, David Coleman, cello, and who played the cello? I think that's how you say that. Cello? Yeah. And Susie Katayama, cello. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Anyway, the album produced 5 commercially released singles. When Doves Cry, which of course preceded the album, Let's Go Crazy, Purple Rain, I Will Die For You, and Take Me With You. Both When Doves Cry and Let's Go Crazy, of course, reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Prince supported the album with the Purple Rain tour, which I will also discuss, his most extensive up to this date, and the first billed as Prince and the Revolution once again. Every song on the album was played regularly on the tour, which comprised 100 shows throughout the United States and including 2 shows in Canada. So I didn't know that. I thought it was only all in the United States. So chart-wise, of course, Purple Rain did very, very good. On August 4th, 1984, after 3 weeks on the chart, Purple Rain reached number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Top LPs and Tapes chart, where it remained for 12 weeks. The album remained almost a year in the U.S. charts. It also reached number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Black LPs chart, remaining at the top position for 19 weeks. In Canada, the album topped the RPM Top 100 Albums chart for 17 weeks and the Top 40 Albums chart, where it remained for 13 weeks. The album fared also well in Europe, reaching number 1 in the Netherlands for 3 weeks, top 5 positions in Germany, Sweden, and Norway, and top 10 positions in the UK, Switzerland, Austria, and France. Boosted by the success of Purple Rain the movie, which I will be discussing the Purple Rain movie. I'm going to do this in 2 parts. So this is going to be called Purple Flood Part 1, and then Purple Flood Part 2, I'm going to do a review of the movie. So we will be talking about that in the next episode. So boosted by the success of the Purple Rain movie, the album catapulted Prince into international stardom, as the album outsold all of his previous and subsequent albums, selling 13 million copies in the US and 5 million in the rest of the world. So the album was certified platinum by the RIAA 2 months after its release on the 29th of August 1984. By November 1984, it had reached 8-time platinum, and by January 1985, 9 times platinum, including 9 million copies shipped in the US within 7 months. On the 16th of May 1996, the album was certified 13 times platinum by the RIAA and reached the diamond album status. The album was remastered at Paisley Park Studios in 2015, overseen by Prince. So those are the stats, and it's still, I think now it's up to like 25 million albums sold, I believe. So it was without a doubt Prince's best-selling album, and we're going to find out why that was, because like I said, he really went all out for Purple Rain, because he was also, of course, doing the movie in tandem with the album. So he really wanted both the movie and the album to do really good, because once again, he was in a situation, I feel like, where it was like make or break time for him once again. And so he really wanted to do his very, very best, because he knew that if Purple Rain flopped, it might have been over. Prince might have been done had this project not do as well as it did. So let's get right on to it. But thank God, it did so wonderful, because honestly, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, if Purple Rain would have flopped, would we even be talking about Prince today? I mean, that is a fair question. And not to say that the albums that he did before Purple Rain were not good. They were. But when you look at them compared to the masterpiece that Purple Rain was just on another level. And had it been just like, a pretty good successful album, say like 1999. If it did the exact same that 1999 did, would we be talking about Prince today? Would we? I dare say, I don't know how this is going to come off. I dare say maybe not. I hate to say that, because don't get me wrong, 1999 was a wonderful album, but it did not have the success that Purple Rain did. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was a better album per se, but Purple Rain did sell better, and that was what mattered at this point in Prince's career. So, be that as it may, I think that if Purple Rain had never happened, or if Purple Rain had been a flop, I really don't believe that we would be talking about Prince today. I think that we would still love his music. He would have a more cultist fan base, but thank God that wasn't the case. So let's just move on before I get off on a tangent on that. So let's look at the tracks, and I'm just basically just going to give my opinion of each track. And so it won't be like some kind of scholarly type of thing. I'm not going to be quoting any reviewers or, what they said about the album, because, you can find all that stuff anywhere. And I might even post some of that stuff on Facebook. But I'm just going to give my opinion. So Let's Go Crazy. Now, of course, Let's Go Crazy was one of his number one hits. And I had a whole episode where I talked about his 5 number one hits. And Let's Go Crazy was the second one. When Doves Cry was the first one. So Let's Go Crazy was a God versus Satan track. Satan being the de-elevator. And, it was just one of those, it was almost like, a gospel track. And that's kind of how it started with the spoken word, Dearly Beloved. It started off like he was about to preach a sermon. And it went from that to, from him preaching a sermon, then it becomes like this poppy dance song. And then it ends as a rock song. So he literally did like 3 genres in this one song, and it's a great opening. I thought it was a wonderfully open song for the movie and the album, and it just really works all around. And it was one of those songs that Prince will play, for the rest of his career. And it was a really good, like I said, because of the way the organs come on, it's just a really good opening song to start the party, or to start anything. So it was just a masterpiece of a song. So like I said, if you want to know more about Let's Go Crazy, you can go back and listen to episode 5 of season 1. So moving on. So Take Me With You. I love the opening drums, which was actually done by Bobby Z, according to the Prince Ball. So like I said earlier, I wasn't a fan of Apple's vocals, especially at the end where she's like, take me with you. I know I can't sing, okay? But I feel like I could have did better than Apple's, and that's terrible. Like, I did not like her singing at all. But I do like the song, and I think it very much fit into the scene that was in the Purple Rain movie with Prince and Apollonia riding to quote-unquote Lake Minnetonka, but not Lake Minnetonka. So I thought it was perfect for that scene. And every time I listen to the song, I always think about that scene. And I mean, it's a really cute song, and I know that it was also a really popular song that he sung on the tour. And I remember he sung it on the Musicology tour, which was around the anniversary of the, I want to say would it be the 20th anniversary? I can't count. But I think, 2004, was probably like the 20th anniversary of Purple Rain. And so there was this, this is on YouTube. He was singing Take Me With You, and he had, like how Prince would do a lot during the Musicology tour and a lot of his other tours too. During the Purple Rain tour, he would do this too, have people come on stage, and fans from the audience. And so he's, singing the song, and then all of a sudden this white woman, fat white woman, okay, I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk about her like that, but anyway, that's what she was. I'm a big girl myself, so I feel like I can talk. So, so she falls down behind him, like they were singing, the part of the song. What were they singing? Be around you, oh, so much. And then all of a sudden she just falls out. And then Prince says, too many drinks to the bar. too many trips to the bar. He says, too many trips to the bar. It was so funny. Like, her friend picked her up, like she fell on her face, and as soon as he said that, as soon as he said, oh my God, too many trips to the bar, he automatically moved away from them. He was like, okay, y'all sing it, I don't care where we go. So it was so funny. Like, I don't know if she was drunk. I guess she was, because I mean she was just dancing, and then all of a sudden she just fell. I mean, and she was like literally like almost right behind Prince. So he was just like, let me move around from them, drunk people. So I know that's a crazy unrelated memory of that song, but I just saw that on YouTube. I had to be like last year, because I haven't really did it as much this year, but last year I was really into watching a lot of his concerts on YouTube. And so I ended up watching the Musicology tour, and they've got a couple of those on different YouTube pages. And so I happened to just sit down and watch one that was like 2 hours long. And I still remember that scene, because I guess the look on Prince's face was like, oh my God. So, and then he, of course he was playing the guitar, and he was just like, okay, y'all sing it. As soon as he said that, he was just like, let me move closer this way. So, okay, moving on. So I love Take Me With You. The Beautiful Ones, which is the next track, is my absolute favorite Prince song of all time. And I know in some circles it's blasphemous to say that you have a favorite Prince song, because so many Prince fans are like, I love all of his songs, I don't have a favorite. What is that? I love all of them. Okay, y'all, let's be for real. There are some Prince songs that I would say, I wouldn't say that I hate, but there are some Prince songs that I don't care for. So, and I think we can all probably say that, about not just Prince, but just about, any artist that you might really like to listen to. But for me, The Beautiful Ones, and for the longest, I was like a lot of those people that are like, oh my God, I love all of his songs, I don't have a favorite. But the more I would listen to The Beautiful Ones, I mean, you could just tell, in the passion and his voice, his vocals, I really feel like he should have got nominated for a Grammy for his vocals in The Beautiful One, because his screams are just otherworldly. And in 2015, Prince revealed, without actually saying, that the song was about vanity. And I talked about this in episode 8 when I talked about vanity in him. She had left him around this time, and when the whole Purple Rain project was just getting underway, and P was hurt, despite them fighting and being really toxic. And I really kind of feel like he kind of brought it on himself, because she left him for 2 reasons. Basically because she was tired of his cheating, because of course he was, still sleeping with Jill Jones, and may have still been messing with Susan Moosey. And I think he was just starting a relationship with Susanna Melvion at this time. So he had his hand in other cookie jars. And Vanity wasn't about that. And then the other reason why she left was because, she wanted $1 million and P was not trying to pay her that for Purple Rain. So she just had to dip. She had a chance to go for another role. I think The Passion of the Christ or something like that. I know that's a Mel Gibson movie, but it was something like that. Martin Scorsese was going to be directing it, and she was offered a role in that. It wasn't The Passion of Christ. It was something. The Temptation of Christ. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up later. Because I'm going off of my script. I'm going off script now. So she got offered that, and so she went for that. She went for the money. And who could blame her? And I got this, that she wanted $1 million because now Maite, in her book, she said that this is what Prince told her, that she wanted $1 million. And so that was just too much because Morris Day said he only got paid $50,000 and he had to split that with his band. And Apollonia said she only got paid $30,000. So Vanity definitely wasn't about to get a cool $1 million. Okay, that just wasn't happening. But this is, to me, The Beautiful Ones is Prince's most passionate song, in my opinion. You can hear how hurt and frustrated and broken he sounds in his vocals. And I really feel like I said, he should have got nominated for a Grammy. And his vocal performance in this song, I just don't understand why it wasn't a single. Another thing that I have, another gripe, I guess, is it should have been a single and he should have got a Grammy, at least nominated. I would have preferred for him to win, but he could have at least been nominated because his vocals are, it doesn't get any better than The Beautiful Ones to me. So moving on, the next track is Computer Blue. And so on the Facebook page, I put up a link because I don't know why the hallway version is not on YouTube, but it's not. It is on Spotify. And I love the hallway version. I love the regular version as well. But when I discovered the hallway version, I just fell in love with it because it's also a really, really great song to work out to. So when I go to the gym, I love to put on the hallway version because it's longer, of course, and it's just really, really good to, get your heart pumping. So, and of course, the spoken part in the Computer Blue, I love, Wendy, Lisa. Wendy, is the water warm enough? Yes, Lisa. Shall we begin? Yes, Lisa. And so Wendy and Lisa would later say that Prince just told them to say that and they have no idea what it meant. But they assumed, as do I, that it had some kind of sexual innuendo, which knowing Prince, it probably was. And as much as I love the regular version, the hallway extended version is awesome. Pete talks about these different hallways and what they represent, like lust and fear. And he said he didn't like living home alone. And the house where he lived in the song had many hallways. And this made me think that maybe Prince was revealing something else about his personality. He didn't like being alone, but he was lonely. Where he says, "Where is my love life?" It was very complicated at this time. Like I said, as he was dating, several women, but still he saw himself as being very lonely, despite the fact that, he was dating all these women and, having all this, extracurricular activity, but he still felt lonely. And to me, I kind of find that fascinating. No one understood Prince better than Prince. He was a riddle wrapped in a mystery, inside an enigma. So another thing I like about Computer Blue, of course, is the breakdown, the guitar solo that he kind of, mixed in with Father's Song, which John L. Nelson supposedly wrote. Now, I don't know. Now, there are rumors that John L. Nelson did not write that and that he was just, Prince was just giving his father credit for it because he wanted his dad to, have some extra money, make money off of the royalties of the song. So, but I'm going to just assume that, maybe, that John did write it. this a book that I can't wait to do a review on, the Neil Carlin book. And I know that I kind of refer to that a lot, but it was one of those books that was very revealing in that I really don't know how truthful a lot of what Neil was saying is in the book. But one of the things he said was that John, never contributed anything to Prince's music, and Prince just, put his name on stuff like Computer Blue, but songs like Computer Blue and later on Scandalous, just so his dad could have, some money off of the royalties. So like I said, I don't know how true that is, but that's what Neil is claiming in his book. And I do know that John was also a very skilled pianist. And so I kind of believe that, it was something that John created. Well, whether it was John or Prince, and Prince or, both of them together, more likely, it's a beautiful breakdown, wonderful guitar riff. I love how he was able to turn that piano, the piano riff into a guitar riff. And I mean, it was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So moving on, probably the most controversial song on the album, Darling Nikki. It is responsible for the parental advisory stickers we have today on music for explicit content. So future Second Lady Tipper Gore was appalled to hear the lyric, "I knew a girl named Nikki. I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. I met her in a hotel lobby masturbating with a magazine." She heard that after buying her daughters the Purple Rain album, and she founded the Parent Music Resource Center, which was responsible for labeling music with, that had bad language and adult content. But really all it did was make the music more attractive to kids and, and people in general, because they see a label like that and they're going to be like, oh, I really got to check this out. So it kind of had the opposite effect of what she wanted. And Prince would later say, according to Rolling Stone, about the whole controversy, was that a lot of people have this idea that I'm like this wild sexual person. And he said to some degree I am. So that was revealing that he said that, but not 24 hours a day. And so that's what he said about the whole controversy. So he said that people have this view of him that they get from his music, but that's really not who he is. And so he would later claim in an interview when he was doing musicology that, back then in the 80s, Darling Nikki was seen as shocking. But by the time, the early 2000s came around, it wasn't seen as shocking. And we all know why. The music, there was, by then, it was like nothing. They were talking explicitly about sex, really like cussing, saying, dropping the F word and the MF word like nothing. So Prince will later be like, I guess it was shocking then, but it wouldn't be shocking now. So moving on, and I also, before we move on, Darling Nikki. Now, of course, I'm going to talk about this in part 2 when I talk about the movie, but I just thought that it was really funny because the very first time I actually heard Darling Nikki was when I saw the movie. So when I saw the movie and when he started, singing the song, and of course they kept panning back to Apollonia, I was like, is he talking about Apollonia? So of course I didn't know anything about, the actual song or the actual album when I first saw the movie, when I was like, I don't know how old I was when I saw the movie, but it was sometime in the 90s when I was kind of young. And so I didn't really know anything about the Purple Rain album at this point. But I was just like, is he like putting her on Front Street? Like, because of course, he did Darling Nikki after they, had relations. And so I was just like, dang, Princess kind of messed up, So I just really thought that, when he said, come back, Nick, I mean, the scene fit so well with what was going on in the movie. And of course, I know they meant to do that. And of course, Prince would make the comment later about the beautiful ones before he accidentally revealed that it was about Vanity. In the same Ebony interview that he did in 2015, he said the same thing about the beautiful ones. Like, is it him? Is it going to be him or is it going to be me? Like that whole situation, he said, was just made specifically tailored for the movie. So I also think that the way that Darling Nikki was played in the movie was specifically made for the movie, and it just went really well together. So, but moving on. So after Darling Nikki is When Doves Cry, which is Prince's first #1 hit song. And of course, what sets it apart was the fact that the bass line was taken out. And of course, I speak about that on the episode 5 of the first season when I talk about his #1 hit. So if you want to know more about my feelings on When Doves Cry, you can go listen to that. I'm just going to just briefly touch on it here. Like I said, I love the guitar riff. Like, it's probably my favorite of all of his guitar riffs. Like, I could just listen to it over and over and over and over. And a lot of people wanted to know how he came up with that. And one person in particular who was really impressed with it, this guitar player from Led Zeppelin, I can't remember his name, or was it ZZ Top? One of them. It was, one of those white men with long beards and the shades. Like I said, it was either ZZ Top or Led Zeppelin. But anyway, their guitarist, I can't remember his name, he was very impressed with Prince's guitar playing when Doves Cry. And he said that, he had came upon meeting Prince at this event that they were at. And so he said, he asked him, like, how did you come up with that crazy guitar riff? That was genius. And Prince told him, he was like, I don't even know. And Prince himself said that he could not even really reproduce it. He said that it just had to have come from God, because there was no way that he could, play it, the exact same way that he played it the day that he recorded it. So that just tells you right there that, Prince's genius is just on another level. So finally, moving on to the next track, I Will Die For You is another kind of spiritual song, kind of like Let's Go Crazy. Now, in Let's Go Crazy, of course, he was talking about God and Satan. And in I Will Die For You, he's talking about Jesus and the sacrifice that Jesus made on the cross. So when he says, I will die for you, he's talking about Jesus. A lot of people think he's talking about himself, but he gives hints to this when he says, I'm not a woman, I'm not a man, I am something that you'll never understand or comprehend. And so he's not really talking about himself. He's talking about Jesus. And like he said before in an interview that he did with Chris Rock in 1997, he had to disguise, his spiritual songs in this way, because you couldn't say God on the radio. So you had to find other ways. And so I Will Die For You is another one of those songs that kind of masks a religious message. And it was also something that his father in Purple Rain told his mother after one of their arguments. He said that, I would die for you, and that's just something that I just remember off top. As you can see, I've seen that movie thousands and thousands of times, and I'm going to watch it again sometime next week so I can properly do a review of it for the podcast. So I'm looking forward to watching it again. But I Will Die For You, I particularly like the version on the Syracuse show, the one that they broadcasted. I'm going to talk about that a little later, but that is probably my favorite rendition of that song, because he stops and he tells the audience, okay, in Syracuse, now watch me dance, and he does his little train dance that he does. And I really just love his energy in the performance. Really, that whole Syracuse show was awesome. So moving on. So Baby, I'm a Star. Now, I think this song basically speaks for itself. I know this song was written at a much earlier time than all the other songs. And I think Prince couldn't have chose a better time to release this song on Purple Rain, because Purple Rain was once again the height of his popularity in the 80s. And it was the album that officially made him a star. So what better song, what better album than to put this song on was Purple Rain, because Purple Rain, Prince had finally arrived. So yes, Baby, I'm a Star. And don't you ever forget it. Baby, I'm a Star is also, I think, one of kind of an underrated song on the album. It's a very good song to work out to. It's one of those songs that when I hear it on my Prince mix, when I go to Planet Fitness to work out, I automatically start running or, doing something on the treadmill or, or biking faster, because it's kind of a fast paced song. And I love that it was such a good closer song too for the movie. I mean, they chose after Purple Rain. I thought it was a really good closer. As a matter of fact, I know that Purple Rain is a closing song on the album. But I really do think that Baby I'm a Star would have been kind of a better closer than Purple Rain, because Purple Rain is kind of an anticlimactic song, and then Baby I'm a Star is just like, okay, I'm here, I'm arrived. You know, you've listened to everything else, you've listened to my greatness, so I've arrived. So I think Baby I'm a Star would have probably been a better closing song than Purple Rain. Speaking of Purple Rain, the last song on the album, of course, Prince's signature song, is one of his most beautiful, I think probably his most beautiful power ballad. And the guitar solo is absolute perfection. That guitar solo, it encompasses the emotional tone of the song, and it's beautiful from start to finish. I mean, that guitar solo is everything. It's perfect. After Prince's death, I couldn't really listen to Purple Rain because I would just cry and cry and cry my eyes out. And even back in 2020, when I really started to get back into his songs again, I could not. I mean, as soon as a guitar solo would start, I would just start bawling, because it is such a beautiful song. And I would even cry to Purple Rain before Prince died. Like, I remember one time when I was watching the movie, and of course, you know, he plays Purple Rain at the end of the movie, I was just like, because of course I wasn't thinking about Prince, because he was still alive at this time, but I was thinking about, you know, the situation with his father. Like, I really thought that part of the movie was very, very moving. And the song Purple Rain is just one of those songs that, for me, I have to kind of be in the mood to listen to. But when I get in the mood, I never regret listening to it. And I know Purple Rain is another song that really kind of gets a bad rap in the Prince world by a lot of Prince fans that don't care for it because it's so commercial, and it's really the only song, like I said, outside of the Prince community that Prince is known for. And I did talk about this as well in earlier episodes, and I made mention of the fact that it does get a bad rap, but it is a beautiful, beautiful song. And regardless if that is a song that he is known for, okay, that's really fine by me, because it would be bad if it was a bad song that he was known for. But Purple Rain is not a bad song. It is a beautiful song. And if that is what he'll be known for forever, I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. And I think also, like I said in a previous episode, I think that Prince was also fine with it, because, I mean, he literally played it every single tour he was ever on, every single concert he ever did, because he knew the power of that song. He knew that that's what, you know, his fans will want. And it was the very last song he played at his very last concert at the Piano Microphone too. That was the last song that he played before he got up and left the stage forever. So to me, that makes it even more poignant, and it'll always be remembered for all time. And even after we're all gone, you know, Prince and Purple Rain, that song will always be around forever. And we should all be happy and rest assured in that. So finally, moving on, I want to briefly talk about the tour. So the tour started in Detroit on November 4th, 1984, which was my first birthday. And it ended on Easter Sunday on April 7th, 1985 in Miami. So there were no overseas tours, but they did have 2 shows in Canada. But instead of doing a European tour, what they did is they broadcasted live the Syracuse, New York show, which was on March 30th, 1985. And, you know, the estate just released a remastered version of that broadcast in June of this year. And I did go ahead and buy it. I want to know y'all's thoughts on the remaster. I thought it was just okay. I mean, I know it's like it's old. I mean, 1985 was almost 40 years ago. So I think they did the best they could with the remaster. And I think some of the songs, especially Let's Go Crazy and I Will Die For You, and of course, you know, the Purple Rain song in that particular broadcast is probably his best one. I think it looked better to me. It did look a little clearer, but there were still some things that were kind of grainy, but for the most part, it looked fine. And like I said, it was at the Syracuse show that Prince really, you know, he did this extended Purple Rain guitar solo. I did put that up on the Facebook page, so check that out. and many consider it to be the best Purple Rain guitar solo. And I think I would agree with that. And like I said, if you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's on YouTube. It is like 16 minutes long because they do take, Prince takes his time coming out. But once he comes out, trust me, he gets that White Cloud guitar. Look, it's over. It is over. It is so beautiful. Like, he has everybody come out to join him. You can see Apollonia 6 in the background. I mean, you can just see Prince just going at it. I mean, he was just, I don't know, feeling it. He was in the spirit that night. So please go check that out. A lot of people have also reacted to it on YouTube as well. And I may even do some reactions to it once I get my YouTube channel up and going, which is still in the works, by the way. But I have really been enjoying the podcast thus far, and I'm going to continue it for into the foreseeable future. Even after I start my YouTube channel, I do plan on trying to keep the podcast up. Now, once I start my YouTube channel, I might not do the podcast as much because right now, of course, I'm doing about a episode a week, so I might have to scale it back once I start the YouTube channel, but we'll see. So I'm going to end it there. Next week's episode, I'm going to review the movie. So I'm looking forward to that because I haven't seen the Purple Rain movie. I don't think I've seen it at all this year. No, I did watch it. I usually watch it on Prince's birthday and on the anniversary of his passing. So I haven't seen it since April. So I'm looking forward to watching that, and I hope you look forward to my review. So until then, may you live to see this. Well, until then, let me start over. May you live to see the dawn, and I will see you next time. Bye.